time for the young people to go out, to hang out, to play around so much, then they at the same time come up with a lot of negative emotion and thinking. So they don't know how to deal with, to cope with. And the emotion brings about the negative thinking, and negative thinkings bring about emotion. At the same time, they are cause and effect with each other. So meditation is the good. We cannot say it's a method. This life, meditation itself is life. With the meditation, there is no life. So when we are caught in the emotion and thinking, there's no life. So meditation is to step out of thinking stream and negative emotional mood. So during the International Buddhist Conference some days ago, Mạnh Đạt is the one who in charge of the young people for the service, for the conference, and he caught in many problems, many issues, and he made a phone call for me. He said how I can deal with my mood, very strong emotion, and he feel that he could not get out of his own suffering. And so today I would like you to share then how the emotional mood coming up at that moment, and how do you feel with the heavy feeling and the way you deal with it. And we together examine together the problem, because the emotion is the human condition mind, and we are human. So please share with us.
Thank you for being here this afternoon. So as we have known, I was working, helping out with the international conference that happened a few weeks ago. And generally it was a good event, but there was a lot of things that happened along the way that wasn't, what I expected. And generally it was, by the last day of the conference, I was feeling very tired, very fatigued, because there was a lot of different things that was going on. And I think my biggest issue was, so there was a lot of mistakes that was made during the conference, and it's something that it's inevitable, really. You can't really avoid mistakes. But for me, because I was responsible for sort of helping coordinate the conference, I feel like there's a sense of responsibility and burden on my part for every single mistake that happened. And part of it is you constantly, I have this very heavy heart at the end of the conference, because on the one hand I feel responsible for everything, and on the other hand I feel like because of my mistakes I have caused other people to suffer, to feel bad about themselves, so I constantly sort of blame myself for everything that has happened, it's a very difficult feeling to get over, because it comes back and basically haunts you every single day. You always think about the fact that you are responsible, and you just can't seem to get out of it. And I mean, I try to do a little bit of meditation along the way, but sometimes when I'm alone by myself and not with other people, sometimes that feeling of guilt is so strong that it's really hard to deal with. So that's why I sort of talk to Venerable Thích Ngộ Phương in order to try to figure out a way to solve this. So that's the story.
Then several days later, it naturally have gone, right? So here, the problem here, we can see, firstly, there is the burden, a very strong burden, already begin the conference. So in our mind that we think this is a very important and serious conference, we have to be the most serious possible we can do. Try our best. And in the mind there is the voice saying that we have to avoid any kinds of mistake, even the smallest one. Do not allow any mistake happens. Already this kind of feeling like a very heavy burden already appears before the conference going on, right? Yes, I think so. And why is that? We examine here. Who said to our head that it is a very important event that should be perfect? Who says so? There are some voice outside, right? Some important person in the conference say that this is a very important conference and we have to be perfect in every activities, in every actions. And our mind have heard about that and keep it in our brain, and it 100% believe that yes, this is correct and very important. Then important more than me, more than myself, more than what I have within me, more than the life ever, more than everything. Who says so? Who have the voice in our head at the moment before the conference going to happen? The voice is the ego, the self-talk in our head. We consider that something important, something big, something very serious. Yes, of course, something important, something serious. But it does not mean that we become very heavily to bear the burden. Because with the scary feeling, what we are going to do, we're going to share the worriness to others. So, and in the way of fearful feeling, we try to avoid mistake. The more we try to avoid mistake, the more we get mistake. So with not the confidence, but with the fearful feeling, we can do not the best, but the worst. So here, my meditation, we examine that, yes, we consider it very important event. We cannot go astray, go overlook with the event. Yes, we have to consider it seriously. But at the meantime, we know that only with the empty mind, with the stable mind, we are going to cope with it with the most powerful energy we have. Otherwise, we bring about the worriness through the action, because the worriness is already available within our heart. And what we say, what we talk, what we do, the way we walk, the way we hear, the way we pay attention to what we are going to do cause problem. Because the problem is not outside there. The problem is already available in our heart, the not stable heart, the worry heart, because it's very important. I'm going to cause problem. And the problem may be turned to blame me. Someone will blame me with the mistake. Worry a lot of problem, because who worry? The ego worry. Why is worry? Because it's scary of not being perfect, right? Try to be perfect, try to be right is the most powerful energy, strengthen the ego. So to be right is to be suffer. So the first thing, before the conference go into heaven, usually we have that feeling. I think so. Yeah, most people have that feeling. Important, because we can see that everyone, they go into ask a lot of questions, and very seriously how we can make it perfect. That's good. But at the meantime, we need to know that we have to have a stable mind. And with not a stable mind, we do nothing but we will cause the problem. Should be that proper right view too at the same time before the conference happen. But I pay attention to hear someone say, no one say so. So with the worriness already available in our heart, we turn to bring it out easily. But Mạnh Đạt just said, after try his best to do what he had to do, but finally in the last day, he feel very regret, feel sorry for something he had done wrong. Isn't it? Yes. So can you share again the feeling of being sorry for what you have done wrong, but at the moment you already tried the best to do it, you not have the attention to harm others, but later you feel sorry for what, right? So can you please describe the feeling of feeling sorry what you have done wrong at that moment?
So it's after everything is done. So during the time, it wasn't so bad, right? Because I was focusing on running other activities at the conference. So I was busy, my mind was busy. So I didn't think about the feelings or the emotions or anything. But after the event, after everything is done, I think that's when it was the most difficult for me. Because the first thing is you feel like because of your mistake, somebody else suffered, right? Somebody else is in pain because of your mistakes, right? And you constantly blame yourself. At that particular moment, you say, I could have done something different, right? And you're running different thoughts, different scenarios in your mind, right? You could say, I could have done this, but instead I've done that. And you feel like you were good enough, right? You were good enough. You did something wrong, and when I try to I guess do meditation, when I try to say, okay, I'm gonna stop thinking about it. I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna try to take my sorry energy and do something useful. Then I started to feel guilty again, right? Because I make a mistake, and if I don't think about that mistake, I feel like I am being irresponsible. Right? So it's a constant process of blaming yourself for what you did.
Yes, so we can see here very consistency. Before the conference going to happen, we already have the worriness, the fearfulness already available in our heart. With such kind of feeling, we going to do something, that energies go out with the action. And in the last day, already have done everything with our most powerful consciousness, awareness we already have. But the last day turned to be something wrong with what I have done. And the mind, when the mind are busy, with the worry mind, a fearful mind, scary mind, in the mind there's no space. There's no space, so only, what do I want to do? I have to do that, I have to do this, how I can cope with this perfectly, how I can avoid it to make this person happy, right? And there's no space to have a clear picture what reality in that moment is. So we have no attention to harm others, but there's no space in our head at the same moment. And with the energy, with the negative energy in our mind at that moment, not allow us to do a good thing, even though the good motivation we have, the good motive we have, but the space is not in the head to support, to allow the clear seeing go through our head, right? So, but at that moment we didn't recognize, yes, and this action I'm going to do will harm others. At that moment we could not recognize. But later, when the situation turned to be relaxed, there's no more seriously like an ego voice thinking our head, hey, seriously, you have to choose this or that. There's no voice at all in the head, so there is space, the empty space, and something suddenly we recognize something precious coming up. Oh my Buddha, I have done wrong. I should do this way rather than that way. If I have to do in this way, this might be good enough, and I will not be blamed and look me more perfect, and that person should not be suffering because of my mistake. Wow, how can now the clear picture come in front of my eyes? We see everything very clear, and if we were at that moment, we can do the best as we are at this moment. And with the recognition, we realize that we have done something not perfect at that moment. Who says so? The space, the insight in this moment say so. That if we were at that moment, we can do more perfect. That's good. That is the realization. That is the awareness coming to the higher level. But at the same moment, the ego will go another way and try to blame ourselves. Like why you are not good enough at that moment and you try to make others suffer. Right? Then the voice, another voice says so, and before we have the worriness in the heart, now we have the feeling of sorriness, regret. Who feel regret? Who is sorry? The ego doesn't accept itself. Right? It doesn't accept. I have to be more perfect, higher, better. Why? Only that level. How can I accept me? So the forgiveness, the allowingness, there is no more acceptable in the moment of the ego voice arising in our head. And second mistake is to identify with the voice of the ego. The first mistake is the very low consciousness, very low awareness. At the moment we have the drop. And the second mistake, the ego says something that, now the picture turns to be more clear because of the empty space in the mind allow us to see. But the ego turns to say something, that should not be in that way, it should be in this way, and my picture, my image will turn to be more great. And others will not suffer because of my mistake. Wow, I'm terrible. How can I look like in that way? The ego says something like that. And the second mistake is we identify with what we truly are with the ego voice. And because of that, we turn to blame us. You are wrong. You should be punished. You have to think to be punished. You have to suffer for your mistake. You have to be responsible for what you have done wrong. Otherwise, you are not a good person, right? So, try to be a good person at the moment before the conference happens, and try to be more good, to be better, to be responsible for the mistake after the conference closes up. This is the process of the ego goal, and all the time we identify with it and we got suffering. So, become responsible is very good, but it does not mean that identify with the feeling of sorry and being caught in that and be suffer and blame us, not forgive us, not allow it. So by the insight of meditation, looking deeply, then we recognize that we should not be blame ourselves, because at the moment we have done that we think is not good, actually the level of our awareness at that moment is allowed on that action. So be compassionate, right? Be compassionate with our own action, because we do not like to do something to harm others in that way. But the space in our head, the awareness in that moment not allowed. So I feel very compassionate for myself. The one who not easily forgive him will not easily forgive other mistake. So the one who all the time blame us, be very serious and terrible themselves, usually turn to be very hard with others. Force. So by meditation, when the mistake we have done in the past, we call sin or we call guilt, how can we repent? In the Buddhist view of making repentance, how we going to do it in the correct way, in the right way. The Buddha did not ask us to feel sorry, and because with the feeling of sorriness and to be suffer with the past. We learn the lesson. We draw the lesson what have we done wrong and apply it into the present moment. Don't be heavily burdened the suffering in the past and to bury the present moment. By appreciate the present moment like a precious gift, we already recognize that the only action we can take is the present moment, not the past anymore. But why we just stay here and thinking about the wrongness, the faults, the mistake in the past and ignore the present moment? That is not a So that is a very interesting story, and we go through it. Usually, when there's no way to go to avoid the problem, there's always one way to go through it. And the best way is to go through it always. Not to go to avoid, not to avoid it, but to go through it. So to go through it, we have to have enough energy. Yes, being caught in anger, emotional anger, angry, some kind of energy inside so strong and occupied. We are absorbed in that and we do not see everything else but anger. And anger say, anger act, anger think, anger make believe, anger worry, fear, pretend to be the human being, pretend to say something, you are human being. No, if we have enough awareness, the mindfulness in high level, we will recognize the voice of the anger, thinking, saying, action, not we truly are anymore at that moment. By that way, we have to practice mindfulness, awareness. How can we practice? As much as possible, we stay in the present moment. When our mind empty, we realize there is the empty in our mind. When there is no anger, we recognize, we notice there's no anger. So when anger comes, I realize, hey friends, you comes again, and smile with it, allow it to manifest. Do not say bad, good, bad. I have to try to better. It's right, it's wrong. All the time the voice, that voice, do not identify with that. We are the sky. The emotion and the thinking is the cloud. Comings and goings is the cloud. Problems. The sky have no problem. So the key issue here too is not to identify with the cloud, but to recognize that we are the sky. When we know that we are the sky, we have no tendency or we have no need to, where is my cloud? Beautiful cloud, small cloud, big cloud, black cloud, white cloud. No, Have cloud okay? No have cloud also okay. Because when we identify we are the cloud, we are in the state of fearful, scary, lost in the cloud. The ego afraid very much being lost in is suffering and is anger. And the ego says that we have to think. The more thinking, the more angry grows up. Fearful feeling, scary feeling grows up. So step out of the thinking stream and do not identify with emotional feeling, the mood. We are more than that. It comes and it goes, and we are not increase or decrease. The space is never turned to be different. It remains same all the time. So go beyond time, go beyond space. So we truly are is the nature of who we are, and stay in that place. So we save all the time. And that place is the Buddha, is the kingdom of God. It's the present moment. It's the most precious things that human beings, only human beings can recognize and dwell in that. So, thank you very much for your sharing the story, and hope that with the level of consciousness of the awareness by practicing meditation, and which when we feel the sorry for something we have done wrong in the past, there is the awareness level already grows up. Because the ignorant people, they do not care much what we have done. You suffer, not me. Your problem, not me. It's not my wrong. It's not my fault. Not your mistake, not me. If you say so, it's that person still caught in very high level of ego. But when we feel that we are responsible for something we have done, this is the good person. But the thing here is not to identify with the voice and to be punished by the ego that you have to be suffer with you have done wrong. Don't do that. And try to live completely attention in the present moment. Dwell in the house, the truly home of who we are, beyond thinking and emotional mood. That's all. That is a meditation. By that we can look deeply into everything as the reality, as they are, not as we are. That's way. Thank you very much. It's clear enough? Good. So, thank you. You can come back, and we can come near by here, sitting together, and stay together, singing and play. Come in the shape like this.